Are we ready? Yes. Well, hi. Have you ever forgotten your keys, your phone, even something important? I am an international educator. I've taught hundreds of students, from gifted to those with learning disabilities. And I am fascinated by how people with brain injuries and shortened amnesia can learn. I am fascinated by memory, by how our brains remember. And for years I wondered, is there a way for us to improve our memory? I'm going to share with you one of my case studies. This case study happens to be my husband. 9 years ago, he had a terrible accident. He was in a coma. And a week later, after a brain death test, I was asked to start legal proceedings to disconnect his life support. Luckily, a few days later, he opened his eyes. Brain injuries are classified in mild, moderate, and severe. He had very severe brain injury. His prognosis was very, very bleak. We were told that even in the best case scenario, he will not be able to live an independent life. The list of consequences from his brain injury was long, and one of them was clinical amnesia. His ability to remember long-term, so years ago, and short-term, yesterday, this morning, was very limited. He struggled to remember. To give you an example, it took him a full year to be able to relearn and remember how to use a simple microwave. As part of his brain rehabilitation program, for years he attended communication workshops where he would listen to a presentation and then had to write a summary about it. We lived just around the corner from a university, and that gave me an idea. In a way, classes at university were similar to what he was already doing, listening to a presentation and writing down the main ideas. So, what if he enrolled at university? You see, his dream was to go to university. So we asked his doctors and we got the okay. This was a public university. It was free. We had nothing to lose. 50 students started with him. 50 young, just out of high school, and with healthy brain students. My husband was in his 40s with very severe brain injury, clinical amnesia, and it had been a very, very long time since he last studied. This was a 3-year degree in economics, with impossible subjects like statistics and financial mathematics, and with written and verbal exams. What were his chances? What do you think? It didn't look too good. Well, after the 3 years, how many of the 50 students do you think graduated? 40? 20? This was a difficult course. Well, out of the 50 students, only 2. One other student and my husband. That was amazing. He got his bachelor's degree in economics in 3 years. There he is. Yes. So how was that possible? How a student with amnesia and brain injury can become a top student? His graduation was last year. The other students are still studying or just gave up. And let's put it into context. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development found that over 30% of students drop out of higher education. Dropout rates go from over 40% in countries like the United States and New Zealand to under 25% in France, Germany, and Japan. And this happens regardless of whether it is free or paid education. If you cannot remember well enough to pass your tests, you might give up. Working memory is our ability to store and retrieve information for a short time. Did you know that according to the Society for Research in Child Development, 1 in 10 students has defined working memory problems, and these are children and teenagers. We assume that as we get older, we will get memory issues, but the reality is that almost all of us, from children to young adults to mature adults, at some point struggle with memory. My husband had very severe brain injury and amnesia, but like any student, he had to pass his tests. And for that, we had to find a way for him to remember. We had to train his memory. We have been asked many times what we did differently. He studied like everyone else, but he passed, whereas other students did not. Young and healthy students who seem to be have much better chances than my husband. Well, what if I told you our secret? What if I told you that you could improve your memory dramatically by playing brain games? And why? Well, because the only thing that he seemed to do differently is that, as well as studying, he played games every day. Games like this. Have you ever seen something like it? Yes? Would you like to try? Let's play. The idea is to find the pattern. If you find the pattern, you find the missing piece. What shape do you think we're going to find under the question mark? Think about it for a moment. Yes? And we'll see it together. Let's see it. First, we have the square and we have a diagonal line. And we find then one half. Which half? The bottom half. Then we go to the next one and it's a circle. And then we find a horizontal line. And we will get half. Which half? The bottom half. Then we go to the last. And here we have a rhombus and a vertical line. We have a half of which one? Left or right? Yes, exactly, right. And what is that? Because the pattern here is that you take the half that is to the right of the line. So very good. So why did we train specifically this type of brain games? This type of psychometric games tell us about our ability to solve reasoning problems and also our skills in comprehension, problem solving, and learning. This is why they are used for brain training, staff training, and recruitment to select job candidates. Most top corporations use them. Because there are only images, there's no writing, we use them for memory training. I started creating these games especially for my husband, and he started playing them for only about 15 minutes, but every day. We took it step by step from the easiest to the most difficult. And slowly, after a few months, he improved. If he improved, anyone can improve. You will not believe how bad he was in the beginning and how good he is now. Let's see one more, a bit more difficult, and that way you can see why this is such a good brain exercise. This one is more complex. Yes, it is. We'll go step by step. Here we can see three shapes. We have a triangle, an hexagon, and a rhombus. And they all repeat, but they all follow different patterns. So let's see first what the triangle is doing. Let's see it together. And starting on the top left corner. So we have the triangle, and the triangle is going one up and one up. And then we go to the next line, and it's going down, and then up again. So what is the triangle doing? Moving one spot along the vertical line, and always keeping on the left of the cell, as you can see. So where are we going to find it next? We can see that it's moving up, up, down, down. So the next one will be right there in the corner at the bottom. Yes? Okay, so let's see the next one. The next one is the hexagon. Have a look, use the same, so starting on the top left and then moving and then there, and see what the hexagon is doing. And see where do you think it's going to be. Yes, you got it, more or less? Yeah, okay. So let's see it. The hexagon is there, and then it's moving one spot, and up, and then right. So what the hexagon is doing is moving around, isn't it? It's moving one spot clockwise, which means we are going to find it down there, right next to where the triangle is. Okay, and now the last one. The last one we have there, the rhombus. where do you think we will find the rhombus? If you look at it, what is it doing? You see? Yes? Okay. So let's see it. So the rhombus is going up and down, but from corner to corner, and always staying on the right of the cell. So it's similar to the triangle, but 2 spots along the vertical line, which means that we are going to find it right there in the corner, next to the other 2. Yes? Okay, perfect. I hope you enjoyed as well. When you play these games, you see many of these questions. Over time, you will memorize dozens of them. After a few months, you can make significant changes not only to your reasoning skills, but also to your memory. We play these games daily. We ended up with hundreds of these questions. So we put them together and we created an app, our own brain training app. Imagine. Brain games are designed to make you feel like you are just playing and having fun, instead of improving your memory, your thinking skills, and more. Some very popular apps, I will not say names, are used to learn a language or improve your memory, meditate. Do you have any of these on your phones? Do you play? Some of you? Yes? Okay, good on you. You might be surprised to know that according to Inside Ace Analytic, the brain training apps market has a value of $7 billion US. This seems like a lot. Well, if we look at what is right next to our brains, our hair, the hair care global market is valued at $100 billion US. That is a lot, isn't it? Well, if we look at what is next to it, yes, our face, the cosmetic global market is valued at 300 billion. Wow. 300, 107. Our priorities seem clear. I've come here today to share with you an idea. Can you improve your memory and the power of your brain by playing brain games? Every single one of us, from children to teenagers to young and other adults, may suffer from the burden of not being able to remember well enough. It affects our studies, our job performance, and our daily lives. We still have much to learn about how our brains learn and remember. Not only those with brain injuries, but everyone can improve from memory training. Think of it like going to the gym. You will not see results in a couple of weeks. You need to train regularly, and you need to train for months. And you'll be amazed with the results. Today, I wanted to share with you an extreme case of memory loss and recovery. Almost all of us has access to a phone or a computer. So I will ask you again, can you improve your memory and the power of your brain by playing brain games? I invite you to find out. Try and find your favorite brain game, whichever you prefer. Play and feel the difference. Thank you very much.